being at the school, being on the campus is very, very important. Every district should be actively making preparations to open.
American parents are facing unprecedented uncertainty when it comes to what to do with their children in the fall and what to do with schools reopening. Now, what we see from this poll is that most Americans do not want to send their kids back to school in person full-time. And what we know from our own polling at Ipsos is that most parents, a broad majority, feel that sending their kids back to school is a risk to their own health and well-being. So there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of things up in the air right now, but it doesn't appear at this point that parents think that in-person schooling is the answer.
First of all, as a parent of kids that are also preparing for the fall, I can completely understand the concern that parents, teachers, and kids have about going into the new school year. It's a school year unlike any other that we've experienced in our lifetimes, and there's going to be lots of questions. I think what's important is to just think a little bit about what are we trying to accomplish when we're talking about getting to comfort. It's really important that kids go back to school. The way that we think about it as we've worked with sort of a network of principals across the country is that they basically want to have really practical translation of official guidelines into like, what do I do? And how do I communicate that to my teachers? So they have a lot of practical questions. For instance, we know that there are about 3 big principles that principals are using. One is that they should be batching the kids. So keeping kids together in groups and not mixing them, because that gives more opportunity, even if one batch gets COVID, that it could spread to another batch. The second is that it's important to think about kids that are going to be in close contact. What kind of protection do they have? What kind of ventilation do they have? And how much time are they going to be spending in close contact? And we know that keeping distance, masks, ventilation, being outdoors, those are all tools in the armament. And we also know that given your school and your situation, you can't do all of those things all the time. And given some of the age groups, it's much harder than others. And then finally, recognizing that there will be COVID transmission in the school. Just like there's flu transmission, there's RSV, other cold viruses in the fall. And so then the question becomes, how do you open up the communication channel with your teachers, with your students, with your parents, so that they feel not only comfortable communicating to you that there might be a sickness, but they feel supported and knowing that it's not going to be punitive for one group or another group. Like, we're not going to be overly disciplining kids. We have a method to kind of work with them. Parents feel like they're going to be supported if they have to keep their kids out. Teachers feel safe, and then principals feel like they have an open channel with their public health departments and enough specific guidance about what to do.
As a broad default position, we should try as best as we possibly can to keep the children in school and to get them back to school when the school season starts, for the reason that I think we're familiar with, that the downstream unintended ripple effect consequences of keeping children out of school and the impact on parents who need to take care of them, on the psychological issues with the children, we should try that.